This is Support is Sexy, episode 366, and we're continuing our series on the 12 lessons of sexy. Today is day 3, and we're talking about trust the timing of your life. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I interview inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and their lessons to help you take your business and your life to the next level and create something sexy. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm happy to have you here. It just would not be the same without you. And you know, we're going into the new year. And if you are looking for ways to reinvent, rewrite, or create your brand story, I want you to sign up for my free course, How to Create Your Brand Story, at brandstory.tips. Now, today we are continuing our series on the 12 lessons of sexy, based sort of on the 12 days of Christmas, not really based on it, just the number 12. We're talking about the 12 things learned over the past year and a half from the podcast, things that I've taken from it, things that you've said have been lessons for you, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. And today I want to talk about trusting the timing of your life. And I will be completely transparent with you all. This is something that I am still working on. It is, I won't say it's difficult because it's really a choice, but there are moments throughout the journey, let's be honest, when you feel like you're working really hard. Let me put this on myself. When I feel like I'm working really hard, doing what I'm supposed to do, moving in the way I'm supposed to move, being consistent, that's a very big part of success, right? Being consistent, doing what you're supposed to do, even when no one is watching and all that great stuff, but wondering why there's a certain point that I can't move past. And if you listen to yesterday's episode, which I hope you do, if you listen to yesterday's episode, I talked about finding a business coach. So I know that for me, and as I preach to all of you, I need support to get to the next level. And support isn't always more money, more education, some of the things that we think is holding us back from moving forward. Support can look a lot of different ways. For me, I know one thing is a business coach, but I still have those moments where I'm wondering, why isn't this thing that I want to do, whatever that thing is, why isn't it working? I become impatient with myself. Sometimes I can beat myself up, which is really obviously self-destructive. We shouldn't do that, right? No beat ups. I always say no beat ups around here. And that is something I have to say to myself. No beat ups. You're working hard. You're doing your best. You're impacting people. People are letting you know, not even just for a celebration of me, letting me know how the podcast in any way has changed your lives. And I appreciate you all sharing that with me. It means everything to me. It is all about what my why is all about, helping people know about the possibilities and ways they can move forward. But still, in all of that, there are days when I just want to know why something isn't working, what is happening. And let's be real during these 12 days, right? Let's be real. A lot of times, and I don't know about for you, but I know for me, a lot of times I realize that the reason I get into this mode of wanting to beat myself up, or the reason I even have this idea that something's not working, is when I fall into comparison mode, which is very dangerous, right? Comparison mode. You start looking at where someone else is in their business, or someone else is with, in my case, their podcast, or someone else is with whatever they're doing, the size of their audience, anything like that. You fall into comparison mode. It might not even be conscious at first. It might even be in your subconscious. You're looking at something on social media. Social media is the devil. It's great because I get to get in touch with all of you and connect with all of you on social media, let you know what I'm up to. We engage on social media. I love it for that reason. But again, to be real, sometimes you have to realize that is the devil. The devil is busy on social media by getting you to get wrapped up in comparison. Social media itself obviously is not the devil, right? But we allow ourselves to get wrapped up in this comparison because we're seeing all the pretty pictures and the trips and the whatever else you name it. But you have to be conscious of, and again, it's a choice. Be conscious of trusting the timing of your life. As Lisa Nichols says, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. And also, you don't know what was going on in those chapters. You don't know how that person got there, how much work they put in, what they went through, what they're still going through. Do not compare. trust the timing of your life, of your journey, of your business, of your creation, your family, your relationship. Trust the timing of your life. And this lesson really stuck with me in a different way in episode 153 of the Support is Sexy podcast with Kierna Mayo. Kierna is a media icon to me. She is the founder and co-creator of Honey Magazine. If you know Honey, if you don't know about Honey, I'm going to need you to Google that. But she is the founder and co-creator of Honey Magazine. And now she is, I believe it's VP or Director of Content for Interactive One. She's over CassiusLife.com, really killing it. Fantastic media mogul, really. Kierna said when we did an interview on episode 153, you have to know that there's a time for the light and a time for the lab. And what she was speaking about was this, she wasn't actually speaking about comparison, but she was saying, knowing that sometimes you have to be in the lab, which is a term a lot of us use, old school hip hop people use. You're in the lab, you're in the studio, you're working on whatever you're doing. If you think of it from a scientist perspective, in the lab, you're making your creation, right? So in the lab is when you are really in the work. You're doing the work. You're not thinking about the shine, the light, the attention or whatever being out there. No one might not even know what you're doing right now. And she was talking about this when we did our interview. She was working on CassiusLife.com. No one knew about it. I didn't know about it, which oddly enough, I asked about Muhammad Ali in that episode. So make sure you listen to that. But she was working on this. Nobody knew about it outside of the company, obviously. But she was in the lab. And when you're in the lab, it's easy to get caught up in comparison if you allow yourself to, because you're looking at what everybody else is doing on the outside and they're celebrating and they're doing this. And it doesn't mean that, when you compare, it doesn't mean that you wish anybody else ill will. You're just thinking, how can I get my thing moving forward, right? But you got to trust the timing of your life and know that right now might be your time to be in the lab. I was watching an interview the other day with Tiffany Haddish. Love her. Don't you love her? Watching her. And I love her, but I really love her story, right? She's an incredible comedian, but her story is just amazing. You can't even believe her story. But I was watching an interview with her and she was talking about how one of the things she did coming up as a comedian is perform at bar mitzvahs. For 11 years, she was what she called the energy producer at these events for 11 years. But she was doing comedy. She was being fun. She was making people laugh. It's what she wanted to do. She was in the lab. None of us knew her when she was doing that, but she had this dream of becoming a comedian for 11 years. Now, I'm not saying what you're going to do is going to take 11 years. It might take longer. It might take less time. But sometimes we get caught up again in this comparison. And we're even looking at someone's chapter 20 and not even considering the first 19 chapters they had to go through to get there. Does that make sense? So we're looking and comparing ourselves to where someone is now and not even thinking about everything they went through to get to that point. Who is it that says often it takes 10 years to become an overnight success? In that 10 years, you're in the lab, you're doing the work, you're doing whatever you need to do to move forward. So I have to say that to myself. I really just started my online business in this way. I had a business before, I've had 2 businesses before, but this one, the online business, the podcast, all of this has just been a year and a half. What is the expectation, right? Now, of course, I have vision. I have a huge vision, audacious goals, right? I have huge vision, audacious goals, and all those things I'm supposed to have. I'm getting support, which is what I'm all about. You got to get support. But what would be the point of comparing myself to anyone when I really look at my time right now is to be in the lab? You're not getting the light, as Kierna says. There's a time for the light. And there's a time for the lab. When you're in the lab, you have to be focused on the work. Actually, even when you're in the light, you need to be focused on the work, right? Because the work is what it's all about, and be focused on your why. But no, for you, trust the timing of your life. When it's time for the light to come into whatever you're doing, you want to be prepared. You want to have put your work in. You want to feel good about your work. You want to be ready to really step into that spotlight and shine in all the ways that you're meant to, supposed to, that you feel that you want to. But you can't do that if you let comparison steal your joy. Theodore Roosevelt said, comparison is the thief of joy. So if you think about comparing yourself to other people, and even though, there's been studies, there was a study, actually, I was reading more about comparison overall because I like to do a little research. There was a study at Emory University years ago from scientist Franz de Waal, and he trained monkeys to use stones as currency, according to this report. And in exchange for the stone, the monkey would get a cucumber slice, which all the monkeys were happy with the cucumber slice. slice. And then according to this report, Franz de Waal started giving some monkeys grapes and other ones cucumbers. Got cucumbers, lost their crap. I don't want to curse, but they went ape blank, basically. They knew comparison, right? They were comparing what they were getting compared to what the other monkeys were getting. As long as everybody was getting the same, everybody was happy. Once they saw the other monkeys getting this grape and this sweeter version of whatever they were supposed to get or what they thought they were supposed to get, they got upset. So think about it. We are in some ways programmed to compare. That doesn't mean though, we're not monkeys. We have evolved. We have a choice and we can decide I'm not going to do that, or even I'm going to step away from that. That's another thing. If you find yourself getting caught up in the comparisons and even depressed, there's been studies about that too. Sometimes we can get depressed by getting caught up in comparison, especially again through social media. Not to pick on social media, but it's the biggest platform or platforms out there right now where we see what other people are doing other than television. But social media, the thing I think about it is it's people that you know. It's not like you're watching someone on television and they're distant from you. People that you know that you think, again, you never know, but you think are doing something, making something happen and all this other stuff, and you're comparing yourself. And there have been studies about people becoming depressed about that, teenagers especially, but all people caught up in comparison, programmed for comparison. So it's okay for you to step away from that. In fact, it's advisable, and I do that occasionally. Especially if I'm working on something or deep into something, step away from social media. It becomes a distraction. You can engage however you need to engage, however you want to engage, but don't get sucked in. Don't get caught in comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. You will start thinking about, I should be this place, I should be that place, and you will forget to trust the timing of your life. So again, as Kierna Mayo said in her interview, and as this lesson is, trust the timing of your life and realize there's a time for the light and a time for the lab. If you are in the lab, focus on doing the work. The light will come. In the lab, do the work, do the work. Don't get caught up in comparison. Trust the timing of your life. All right, so hopefully this all made sense. Let me know what you think on social media, if you're on social media, or email me, Elayne at elaynefluker.com. I would love to hear from you. And before you go, I do want to share with you our new partnership. We're working with Audible now. I'm super happy about it, excited about it. Holiday season, now is a great time for you to get a gift for yourself from Audible. They are offering Support is Sexy listeners a free 30-day trial plus a free audiobook to get you started. So if you're interested, I want you to go to freesupportissexybook.com. Altogether, freesupportissexybook.com to sign up. You'll have access to more than 180,000 titles for free for 30 days, plus your free download audiobook. That's freesupportissexybook.com. All right. Thank you so much for listening to our third day in our 12 lessons of sexy. We're getting it rolling now. I'm excited to have you here. As I always say, it would not be the same without you. So make sure you come on back tomorrow. And until then, I want you to remember one thing. You deserve support. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.